Hey YouTube, my name's Nate. I've had an amazing spiritual experience that I feel like I need to tell my testimony, and I feel like YouTube is a very good avenue to do that. I love YouTube. I know it goes all over the world, and I hope this does. Quick background about me: 43 years old. Um, at a young age, I developed a childhood trauma, which it was abandonment issues. 6 or 7 years old, I was introduced to my grandmother dying, who I loved. Remember at the funeral, I was asking my mom, like, is she like, why is Grandma sleeping when she can wake up? And my mom was telling me she was with Jesus. So processing like what death is. Shortly after that, my dad left out of the blue. And then again, shortly after that, my mom got hit with stage 3 breast cancer. So at a young age, I was dealing with and processing what death is, loss of a father, and now cancer is killing my mom. I had nobody to turn to, and I filed that away in my 6-year-old brain, and I never touched it. I'm 43 years old. Another thing that I've been battling with, which a lot of men do, is like lust, and particularly porn. I know the like intimate relationships I've had with women over the years, my abandonment issues, they had to have shown up. I mean, you can't like that. They just had to have shown up. And then I know like some of the girls were like, my ex-wife was pissed when she found out I watched porn. Some of the other girls, like, they were hurt, and I was with beautiful women, like drop dead gorgeous women, and I shouldn't have been doing that, but it was a coping mechanism of whatever the case was. So always kind of felt like I had my life together, all right. Made strategic choices with changing jobs, or just planning things ahead. Like, everything had to have been planned out so that I never got burnt from abandonment back in the day. The last 12 days have been insane in my life. Go back about a week and a half ago. It was a Friday, and I was leaving a job that I never thought I'd leave. Hands down, the best boss owner I've ever worked for. Dude's awesome. Due to circumstances outside of the company, I had to leave. And after my divorce, I've been looking for a home, and the house that became available was the house that I grew up in. My sister bought my mom's home, and she was losing the house. If sacrifice that I had to take was, this isn't the house that I would normally want to buy. It's a nice house. I want to be out in the country, away from people, 10 acres, enjoying peace and quiet. And this house is just outside of a busy city. But if I didn't buy the house within a few months, my mom and sister would have been homeless. And then, so that happened on Friday. I thought this past Wednesday would have been my last day. It was Friday, just how it worked out. And then Friday closed on the house that I never thought I'd buy. And then that Sunday, I had to break up with a woman that I was head over heels in love with. And I just remember thinking, like, what is going on in my life right now? Like, this, I've seen these things happen to other people. This stuff doesn't happen to me. Like, this doesn't, like, how I've lived my life, calculating a lot of things. Like, this doesn't happen to me where, without a job, just bought a house. You don't do that every day. And then breaking up with a woman madly in love with. Like, God, what is going on in my life? Nothing makes sense. Nothing's making sense. Everything is backwards, upside down. And I knew that the job change was coming. I knew the house was coming. I just didn't know that it was all going to happen, on the same day. So a prayer that I've been saying with God was like, God, I want to like turn my life over to you. I've heard it in church before where the pastor was saying that, if you got something heavy on your heart, turn it over to God. You have to let him into your heart for him to start the healing process. What the pastors don't tell you is that is a terrifying experience, because whatever you're battling, that's been your comfort zone for 5 years, 10 years, decades, 40 years, who knows how long you've had this trauma in your life that you can't let go of, because it's scary. It is terrifying. So my job was starting the following week, so I've got a full week off of work, which never happens unless I take a vacation. And I was having a hard time. Being idle. Along with the God, just take over, like submitting to God, so that here's my life, do what you want, this is your will, not mine. Hard time with that, because I was holding on to 90% of it. That 10% of the abandonment and the lust issues, like I was like, I'll handle this on my own, but God, just take care of this 90, please. Another one of my prayers was being comfortable being uncomfortable alone. And that has always been a thing with me. Like, I don't like being alone. It sucks. I'd never liked it. I didn't enjoy it. Like, always had to have a beautiful woman in my life. And another prayer that was on my heart was to see daily signs throughout my life that, I'm turning things over to God. Give me signs throughout the day that these are what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's now Thursday. I've had a few days off, just not doing good. And one of my best friends has property up north, and he was like, Nate, go up north, go to the campground, go spend time with you and God, and take your kayak and float down this river that at the end of the river is the spot where I feel that God and I really connected. It is my spot. Like, when I die, this is where I want my ashes to be spilled out at. And when he's telling me this, my stomach just starts churning. Like, it's making these weird like noises, and I was talking to my buddy on the phone. It's like, dude, if you could hear my stomach right now, you'd be like, what is going on? And I was scared. I was terrified, because I knew that where I was mentally, trying to submit 100% of myself to God, if I went up north, I would be killing those two aspects of my life that I've been holding on to as a comfort for all these years. So Thursday night, I'm looking at the weather, and they're calling for severe thunderstorms Thursday night into Friday morning, and then Saturday morning, crazy wind, like just gale advisory, crazy wind. So I'm like, I'm not going. Like, no, that doesn't sound fun to me, to go up north in the woods, crazy thunderstorm, tree falls on me, I'm trapped, nobody can hear me screaming, and I just bleed out in a horrible death. So I wake up Friday morning, and I've been doing this devotional that goes after like childhood trauma. And the devotional said at the end, go to a lake or a stream and take a picture of it and set it in a spot that will remind you how God works through the wastelands of your life to make beautiful streams. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me, God. This is 6:30 in the morning, Friday morning. All right, I'm not even 2 sips in my coffee, and I was like, holy crap. Well, I guess I'm going up north, like, here's a sign that I've been praying for, and it can't be more clear. That spot up north, I remember I came home from a fishing trip and went to my ex-wife, and I said, hey, I found the most gorgeous spot I've ever seen in my life, and I can't wait to share it with you. And I never took her up there. And I knew that, like, we were married a few years after that, and I could sense that the marriage was in the beginning stages of turmoil, and I didn't want to share that with her if I knew that there was going to be a divorce in the future. Like, that was my spot, my special spot that I just connected with God, and I love going up there. And it didn't make sense when my buddy was like, dude, go to your spot up there. I'll go up there anytime, any opportunity I can. I want to see that spot. And then the girl that I was dating, I took her up there last summer, and I told her, like, hey, I didn't even show my wife this spot. Like, this is very special to me. I hope you appreciate that I'm sharing this with you. So when he's telling me to go up there, like, dude, like, I just broke up with this girl 4 days ago. Like, I'm not going to go to my favorite spot in the world, where the last time I was there was with her. Like, it's too soon. Like, that's going to suck. I don't want anything to do with that. So Friday morning, read the devotional, and it's telling me, go take a picture of a stream or a river. And I'm like, I'm going, you know. So I pack everything up, hit the road, and I'm driving up, and I never get panic attacks, you know. I got everything together, you know. I don't get panic attacks. And I'm driving totally fine. All of a sudden, heart starts racing, hands start sweating, and I'm like, dude, chill out, man. You're just going up north. Like, you've been up there a bunch. Like, it's not a big deal. And it wasn't until afterwards that I realized that, you know, the flesh is a short-term thing. Your soul, if you believe in God or not, your soul lasts forever. And things that are good for the flesh are not technically good for the soul. In my case, lust. Things for the soul, the flesh will fight. So my body was telling me, dude, turn around. I'm going to freak you out so that you have to turn around or stop. Just stop going here. But my soul, you know, God was telling me, like, keep going, keep going. So I get up there, and there's plenty of daylight left. Start a fire, and it's just me in the woods, right? Super awkward. And I'm looking around. I'm like waiting for a bear to come up, you know, a Sasquatch to do something, you know. And I just remember the fire's going, there's smoke, and I lean back, and it was at this time it was sunny. And I saw like the light shining through the canopy of the trees and the smoke, and you could see like the light rays. And I was like, well, God, you got me up here. Like, let's do this, you know. And I started crying. Like, I bawled like a baby. And I didn't, like, nobody can hear me crying, you know, so it is what it is. Like, I'm letting it out. And I was a broken man. And I remember I had to shatter a part in my heart that I held very dear to myself for God to start the healing process. And as soon as I allowed that into my heart, this amount of peace that I've not felt this much peace in my decades. I don't remember ever feeling so much peace in my life. Stopped crying, and I was like, oh my God, like, my whole body, just peace, like a Buddhist, you know? And the thing to do up north is to, you know, you catch a sunset on Lake Michigan. So I've found the spot that was like a national forest turnaround, and they built stairs and these platforms, and just really nice, right on the lake on a bluff. It's probably, you know, 200 feet above Lake Michigan. And I'm the only one there. It's a beautiful, like just a beautiful day. The storms were north and south of me. Not a cloud in front of me, watching the sunset by myself, in so much peace, totally comfortable, like, just very grateful, like, God, thank you for this. So go back to camp, wake up Saturday morning, went to a town, and I know that they've got farmer's market. So go to the farmer's market, walking around. I'm that weird dude that's like by himself. There's just families around me, couples around me. I'm up there by myself, and I'm like saying good morning to people on the sidewalk, taking them off guard, you know. Like, I'm just like that dude. Like, I'm just in a great mood, peace, just peace. Go to breakfast, and I was talking to one of the managers, and he looked like an outdoorsy dude. And I go, hey man, would you float down the river today in a kayak? And he goes, absolutely not. And I go, because of the wind? He goes, yeah. The wind was, my radar app said constant 17-mile-an-hour wind with gust up to 40. So it's just a crazy windy day. Again, not a cloud in the sky. 90 plus degrees, just wild wind. So I finish up with breakfast, and I'm walking back to my truck, and I've got my kayak, everything's strapped, everything's ready to go because I'm going to the river. And in my head, I'm thinking, you know what, God, like, thank you for crushing, like, the peace, because, like, I felt really guilty with all that stuff. And walking in the truck, the first thing I do is I turn on Pandora music, and it's Christian radio. And the guy's name is Jordan Lazick or something like that, but the name of the song was The River. As I'm plugging in the address, I'm like hearing the song The River, and I look and I see it says The River. And I'm like, holy crap, like, I guess I'm going to the river, you know. I got everything, I'm ready to go. So get up to the river, launch, and there's a bunch of people around. Beautiful day again. And their kayaks were river kayaks. I've got a fishing kayak that's a sit on top. It's 12 feet long, and if any of you know kayaks, there are, in the sit on top ones, there's these 4 like holes that water passes through, and it's a buoyancy thing, so like when you put weight in the kayak, like the water can come up and it just makes it more stable. So I'm paddling, and there's all these people around, and I was thinking, man, I really wanted to do this by myself, but it is what it is. And I probably passed 20, 30 people. Like, they were just floating and I was paddling. You know, I'm on a mission here. I'm floating down the river. And this river has a lake that where you enter from the north, and then you go west about a half mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile. It's a decent sized lake, and that's where the river picks up again, and then that empties out into the lake. And the wind was right into my face. And larger lake, windy day, waves, right? So the waves were probably 1.5 to 2 feet high. And as soon as I enter my kayak, I was not doing this, I was doing this through the waves. So now the water is coming over the bow of my kayak, and it's filling up faster than what those buoyancy holes can relieve the water from. So my feet are wet, my nose is dipping, and I start to get scared. And I look over my right shoulder. There's nobody behind me. I just passed all these people, and now I'm out here alone. I can't go back. I have to keep going because my truck was down there, and I'm not walking. I'm not doing that walk. So if any of you know boating, it's best to go into the waves, not like with them, I guess you could say. I had to go against the waves or I would sink. I am not a strong swimmer at all. I had a life jacket with me, and the terror that I was in, if something happened, I wouldn't have even thought to grab my kayak or my life jacket. And if I became disconnected from my kayak, I would have sank. Like, my heart was racing, I was breathing heavy, I was like in terror mode. And it was probably a half hour, 20 minutes to a half hour to just kayak back to safety of the other side of the river. And there was a good 10 minutes that came and went that I was riding the edge of panic. Like, I remember I'm paddling, and I'm doing this, and water's coming in my kayak, and it's draining out, and I'm freaking, I'm going, and I can see where I gotta go, and I'm just focusing. And this gust of wind came out. It might have been 50 mile an hour, 55, I don't know. But it wanted to throw me off my seat. And I remember I grabbed the kayak and I stopped, and I was like, God, what do I do? And when I stopped, my kayak went with the wind. So now the wind's coming this way. I'm facing this way. The waves start crashing over the back of my kayak, and I start sinking. My back gets wet. So I got to go, so I'm paddling and just terrified, terrified. When I got to the safety of the river, the amount of love that I felt God give me. And, some people say that they hear the voice of God. I didn't hear God. I felt this love that was, what I felt was, you've never been alone. You will never be alone. And I've been with you the entirety of this. You just never let me in. And I lost it. I was just bawling by myself on this beautiful sunny day up north. Like, this doesn't make sense, And for the first time in my life, I can honestly say that I drive for a living. If I get hit by a semi truck and I die tomorrow, without a doubt, I know that when I get to the gates of heaven, Jesus will look back at God and say, let him in, he's my son, he's trusted me with his life, and he is a follower. And the love that I received on the river, there's no human alive that will ever be able to touch that much love. It is, you cannot explain what that feels like unless you experience it. And it is the most beautiful, full love. Like I can't explain it. The rest of the kayak trip was awesome, and I sat at that spot for a little bit. I was driving home, and I was thinking about it, where if I had a job, I would have been working Friday. I wouldn't have been able to just run up north on a whim. If I was in a relationship, I would not have left that person to go up north by myself, because I would have felt like I was abandoning them. Like I wouldn't have done that. That wouldn't even cross my mind. It's those times in your life that when things are so crazy, you're losing control. That's when God wants you. That's when he wants to heal you. And it's opening yourself up and letting go. And it is scary. It's terrifying to put yourself in that vulnerability that, like, that's your comfort zone. Like, so whatever you're battling, I'm putting this together, so I hope one person hears this and they experience it and it changes their life like it's changed mine. That was, I don't know, 4 days ago, and I am still all jazzed up about this feeling. It's beautiful, guys. Like, I hope this touches somebody. God bless. Thank you.